I'm Michael Kastner, and this is E's one-hour look inside Star Trek. The next stop in our continuing Star Trek saga is Deep Space Nine. Actually, DS9, as the series followers like to call it, isn't a Federation starship at all. It's an alien space station on the farthest edge of the galaxy. The show is action-oriented, but it still upholds Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry's vision. You could say it's an adventure show with a conscience.
In here is the Gamma Quadrant. Out here is, I don't know, solar system.
The Gamma Quadrant is the portion of space where Deep Space Nine is located. Amazing that it can be found on a sound studio on the Paramount lot. And while the Enterprise and the Next Generation goes off in search of strange new worlds, aliens from all over the galaxy come to Deep Space Nine.
We wanted to develop a show that had the vehicle for conflict in our writing. So what we decided to do was to come up with a situation where Federation personnel, Starfleet officers, were invited to come in to an area that they weren't particularly all that welcome in, and an area in which they weren't all that comfortable in.
What the hell do you people intend to accomplish here?
The sets that have been created for Deep Space Nine are very realistic and nearly functional.
The main sets that are part of the show are where we're sitting in now. This is ops, and that's short for operations. I'm actually sitting in Chief O'Brien's panel here, and if I were to press some of these buttons, some very wonderful things might happen.
This guy here, he's not there now, but he pulls the doors open. But they work, yeah.
What we can do is we can adjust Avery a little bit to the right.
I think the sick part of it is you start to kind of, because these sets are so real, you kind of start to go, we are in the station. We are in space, isn't it cool? And we're all dressed in uniform all the time anyway, so it's playing pretend all day long.
When I started this show, my son was 3.5 months old. And that's the first thing, he comes on the set all the time because that's when I get to see him. And the first thing he did was look at it and touch it, poke it, and then he laughed. And that was the last time he ever made mention of my nose. It was like, okay, that's what Mama wears when she's at work.
And a visitor also has to wear alien garb.
These are the Bajoran uniforms, which come in, you get lovely gray or you get a lovely rust.
For some of the Deep Space Niners, these outer space outfits aren't all that foreign. You see, a couple of them wore these space fashions while on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they seem to welcome the wardrobe change.
These are great, because if you gain a little weight, no one can tell.
Well, it's looser. It's a lot looser. The top part of Next Generation space is really...
They also seem to like the new, what we refer to as the utility uniform, which is the new one-piece jumpsuit, which is made out of a lightweight wool gabardine.
Once the costumes are complete, the characters come out.
I'm a major and I'm a first officer. And I'm also not in Federation. So I'm not always politically correct.
He's chief of security, yeah. And he's a shapeshifter. He is, comparatively, I suppose, of the major captains, is very, very human. And shows, wears what he feels.
Cisco to security.
Go ahead.
I need a couple of officers to go on a rescue mission to Bajor. Report to run about pad C.
On our way.
One of the most stimulating personalities on Deep Space Nine is Quark. He's the local club owner and loves to scam on women.
Continue, please.
I am sort of Sam Malone, and I have his good looks as well. I have my own establishment. I have a lot of lovely female types coming in and out of the bar all the time. I make a great deal of gold.
Very well, very well. Perhaps we could discuss these new rules over a drink.
If you don't take that hand off my hip, you'll never be able to raise a glass with it again.
Pig is the right word. My character's a pig.
You forget the thing. All right.
You look so gross, those teeth.
In this scene, with Rick Colby, who's directing, wonderful director, I'm meeting a very lovely Boslick, which is a new race to our show, Boslick freighter captain.
Now, Leslie, could you go for his earlobes? That's where you normally don't grab him, but Just caress him as you come in.
With my hands.
Yes.
Just because he's a chauvinist pig doesn't mean Quark isn't a sensitive 24th century kind of guy.
Oh, very sensitive to my ears. Oh, yeah.
Action, please.
Hi, Clark. How are your nerves?
Tingling at the sight of you. And I get away with murder most of the time. Most of the time.
No, I don't.
My nemesis, Odo, has a way of sitting on me. But most of the time I can get away with a lot of things.
I need a slimy character like him, and he needs me chasing after him.
In this scene, there's a lot of turmoil down on the planet, and one of the major Federation officers is missing, and they're all looking for her. But you know who comes in to save the day? Just wait and see.
Good. When's Odo due back?
Roughly 12 hours.
Who needs Odo when you got his #1 deputy?
Not everyone feels that way, Quark. Bonds do form quickly when you're stuck on the outer limits of the universe, especially after their hiatus.
Terry I haven't seen for ages, so today is the first day I've seen Terry in 3 months. So we had a fond welcome today, and so, yeah, we're affectionate now. 10 months' time, we'll see what we're like.
You know, both on a personal level and on an acting level, we gel pretty fast. So it feels like we've been doing it for a long time.
We'll meet the humans behind the aliens and check out some amazing special effects when Inside Star Trek returns. I'm Michael Kastner, and you're watching E's Look Inside Star Trek. Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine are not only some of the most popular shows on television, they're also among the most expensive to produce. Creating the illusion of the future and filling it with fantastic creatures doesn't come cheap. But more important than the budget on shows like these are the creative minds who bring these worlds and their inhabitants to life.
Hello, I'm Michael Westmore, the makeup designer and department head of Deep Space Nine and The Next Generation. There's a difference in the type of work we're doing now as opposed to 25 years ago. And I would think one of the biggest differences, the materials we have now are far more advanced, far more developed, and we have more time, we have bigger budgets.
Oh, 5 after 7. See you in 3 hours. 3 hours later, what do you think? It was worth it. Every moment. I gotta go to work. It makes me go to work after 3 hours of sitting there. This is the easy part. The makeup is the hard part.
It takes an hour and a half to put on. Yeah, but that's my whole makeup. And the fact is, my skin has to be matched to this, and it has to be built up so that there's not a line. And they do an amazing job.
I'm generally in, if everything is going right, I'm in at 5:45. And I'm in makeup for an hour and 15 minutes, and then on the stage for anywhere between 13 and 18, 20 hours.
It's a rash, and I'm embarrassed about it. We tried to cover it. It wouldn't work. They had a forehead on me, and Paramount apparently just went, what did you do to her face?
The process has evolved over the years from really being a pain to where it's actually tolerable.
People say, oh, does it hurt? Is it hot? Is it this? Is it that? It feels like you have a cold. And actually, today I do have a cold. So it feels like I have a double whammy cold.
A lot of actors have told me that they have in their makeup felt claustrophobic. I can't even say that word.
Okay, so it's not always comfortable. Even so, the cast members willingly forego their own creature comforts for the sake of Michael Westmore's vision.
This is our alien called the Trunkhead. It's one of the more interesting, I think, and more difficult aliens that we have on the show.
Oh, it's going to be like a Fellini movie in a minute.
If you've ever done body work on cars, you know what Bondo is. For the skin game, this is facial Bondo. It's a very crucial step in the makeup where my back starts to go out.
Once the Trunkhead's tedious and time-consuming makeup session is over, they're faced with an even bigger challenge. And so is their creator.
I think the more you do, the easier it gets, because you get into a role
where you think all of a sudden I'm burnt out and I can't think anymore. And kind of it started to get that way after the first season. You think I've made as many bumps as I possibly can. But then the more research books that you start to delve through and you start to go through, it does. It starts to get to the point where I more or less take it for granted. It's like, okay, we need 18 new aliens. All right, sit down and we'll put them together.
I am Dan Curry, visual effects producer for Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. With the original Star Trek, the major differences at the time that was made, the digital technology that we have today, as you see around us, was not in existence. There are two things that are happening in this shot. First of all, this is Brent Spiner as Lore, Data's evil brother, and this is Brent Spiner as Data, our stalwart commander on the Enterprise. So this shot combines the technology of a split screen, where we shot Brent as Lore and then Brent as Data, and then it also combines this electronic matte painting I'm doing now, and I'll be adding a flying buttress over there and we'll provide you with the finished shot. Now here's the finished shot. This is where I painted in the flying buttresses and just extended up the building with an electronic airbrush. And running, it looks like...
I think it's kind of nice that, at least for a little while, some of the kids who watch the show really kind of believe in it and think we're real and that we really are in space and I'm really a machine and not just a boring adult.
Well, the actors like it. I think it's fun. They enjoy seeing the shots put together at the end. It's like if they're being shot against a blue void and they see the final show, they kind of get a kick out of being in outer space.
Get ready. And left. And back.
The national dampers are offline. Life support is failing. Entering the planet's atmosphere.
And right.
There are certain characteristics of this show that people have identified as being very Star Trek. And what I've just been doing now, i.e. this kind of acting, whenever, the shuttle is going through a lot of clear air turbulence. I always feel slightly embarrassed when, there are visitors around, because it's one of those Star Trek cliches, the bodies being thrown around inside the shuttle.
Another important part of visual effects on our shows is morphing.
I remember Odo morphs, right? Rene Aubergenois morphs into different things, and there was one show that he morphs into a rat. How the hell did they do that?
We have Rene scanned in the computer with a laser scanner, so we have his body in the computer essentially as a puppet, and we can animate him and morph between him and his live-action self, taking him from a liquid state and making him ooze through grates and travel along the floor, and then morph back to his live-action self then.
A rat is the most sort of animated thing. Usually I'm doorknobs.
We've had him flow into a lap.
I've been a picture on a wall.
We've had him had a very bad headache.
I've been a chair.
Just a lot of interesting different shapes.
I don't know. The Trekkers know everything I've been.
It's that world of enlightened adventure that attracts audiences. It certainly makes it attractive for us to work on.
Amazing how they do all that stuff, isn't it? Well, don't go away. We've got true confessions of Never Say Die devotees when E's Inside Look at Star Trek continues.
I watched Star Trek The Next Generation. My favorite character is Fearless. He is always in command of the ship. He's at the bridge. His name is Patrick Stewart.
I'm Michael Kastner, and you're watching E's one-hour show Inside Star Trek. We certainly can't let the hour go by without introducing you to some Trekkers. That's what die-hard devotees call themselves. Trekkers run the gamut from Academy Award-winning actress Whoopi Goldberg to the 12-year-old kid down the block. More than 20 million of them watch these shows every week, and lots of them attend Star Trek conventions. And over the years, we've attended a couple ourselves.
I'm a
Trekker. I am definitely a fan.
I am a big Trekker.
I'm a Star Trek person, you know. I guess I'm a Trekkie. I guess I don't wear the uniforms and stuff.
I must confess, no, I wasn't. I was never really, science fiction wasn't my thing before this.
Okay, so not everyone was born a Trekker, including some of Star Trek Deep Space Nine's current cast members. But once you start watching, it's hard not to be sucked into the Star Trek subculture. Fans who follow the series religiously take the Star Trek phenomenon very seriously.
Star Trek is part of our whole culture now. It's part of American almost history, you could say, because of the time length that it stretches out.
It's a good philosophy of the future.
I think it's just really fascinating how they have, like, how they show all these special effects and stuff that may happen in the future.
That's kind of an optimistic view. I mean, when you're channel hopping and you see Bosnia on one channel and, you know, all this other stuff, it's kind of nice to turn to something encouraging.
Over the years, these fans have been stereotyped and ridiculed because of their intense devotion to the series. In reality, though, most Star Trek fans are just sci-fi lovers.
There's the cliche of the Ike Rock Spock fan, you know, who's, you know, living in his mother's fruit cellar and, you know, has a, you know, corpse sitting there. No, and has a little phaser and you know, was like, you know, holding them people off at bay in Waco, you know, and yeah, they're those kind of fans as well. That's true. I mean, and they give the larger fandom a bad rap.
I get a lot of good feedback on Quark, and it's not surprising because I know that the show is good. I'm just surprised at how many people see it and appreciate it and are kind enough to come up and tell me how much they like it.
Even former cast members get great feedback. Actress Susie Plaxton's character was killed off during the 4th season of Star Trek The Next Generation, but she still has a large fan following.
She was a great actress. She played the part really well. And it's too bad they killed her off.
Hello.
You look better without all the bones.
Well, I guess that's real good to hear.
How are you? Fine, fine. My brother says you're the best-looking Klingon there is.
In addition to getting autographs at conventions, Trekkers come to see their favorite actors speak and to find out what they look like without makeup.
I'm a big ham. I mean, I love sort of being up there and being funny.
Michael? Yes? We're out shooting in Simi Valley. Why didn't you come over for lunch and swim in the pool?
Do you think both of us could get in your pool?
Little mean. I must admit. I mean, I was kind of surprised at myself for saying it, but I kind of went, after I said it, boy, this guy could kill me, and they wouldn't think anything about it, you know, but they love it. They kind of get off on it.
They ask you things most of the times you can't do anything about. Right to the producer.
In a way, it's great because it's like with most TV shows, you don't get very much direct feedback from your audience, you know, but with this show you do. You can go and talk to these people and you're getting direct feedback about what you're doing, you know, from the public.
I go to the supermarket and people go, they think I'm their dry cleaner or something. And they sort of know I'm somebody they know, but they don't know who I am.
Original cast members often show up at conventions. They come to tell a few stories and share some old feelings with the audience.
This is not a nice guy. This is not a nice guy.
No, nothing stops Star Trek fans.
And nothing stops these fans from getting into the Star Trek spirit when they're at a convention.
That's one of my own creations. It is just the typical sort of alien female that Captain Kirk wanted us to do.
I bought the pattern here at a convention, and then I had a friend sewed it up for me.
I like getting all the attention that I get. Instead of just walking through and being like, you know, everybody else, I can walk through and have 20 people stop me for pictures, which is usually the case.
It's fun to see them to try to emulate what we're doing at the studio, especially with the Borgs and the Klingons.
That's the sword that Worf uses. It's called the Bartlett.
Oh, yeah, man, your light's a trip. You should check you guys out. You guys are educational.
It's not enough to attend the conventions and see their favorite characters. True devotees have an intense desire to take home a piece of the Star Trek magic. And there's no end to the memorabilia available to those diehard fans.
The Whoopi photograph of Whoopi, that one right there by herself. That's the biggest seller that we have.
For some of the actors, all this merchandising can take some getting used to.
I don't know, I was a little skeptical about it initially and about being an action figure and such. And then I thought, well, you know, if it's good enough for Alec Guinness, I guess it's good enough for me.
I remember the first day at the beginning of the first season, we were all standing getting pictures taken, and I was posing, and Cullum was teasing me about my posing, and I said, yeah, well, we'll see who looks best on the lunchbox.
By the way, the Deep Space Nine lunchboxes aren't available yet, but do check out the next Star Trek convention. I'm sure they're working on them right now. And don't go away. I'll be back to take you on the ultimate Star Trek experience. Everything's quiet here, sir. No sign of life anywhere. Welcome back. I'm Michael Kastner, and this is a 60-minute look inside Star Trek. Well, we've gone behind the scenes on both Star Trek series, hung out at conventions with some Trekkers, and we watched Odo morph into a rat. So you're probably thinking we've reached the limits of the Star Trek universe, right? Wrong. Space is limitless, and so are the opportunities for participating in the Star Trek experience. So come along with me to the Star Trek exhibit at Universal Studios Hollywood, where I'll face off with some of the fiercest looking aliens you've ever seen. Here we are at Universal Studios Hollywood, and folks, if you're like me, you like the real thing. And if you're looking for Klingons, Hollywood certainly has plenty of those. This is the place to find real Klingons. Let's check it out.
I need one more adult that wants to beam down.
I think I want to beam down. Do I?
You want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Lucky you got the lead part in the show.
Oh, great. Okay. Is there, like, any weird headdresses or funny makeup or wigs I have to wear?
No, you're going to be a good guy, so you
I'll be a good guy? I don't have to...
You get to be the Klingon up.
Can you tell me what this is?
It's a communicator, and you got to turn the other way so you can talk to Captain Kirk when you beam down.
I'm going to go fight some Klingons now. Come on. I'm not going alone. You're coming with me. Let's go. Come on.
Coming into view right now, the planet Echelon 7, the home of our aliens whom we met earlier, also the destination of our magnet merge. Our final 5 scenes will take place right here. Michael, you've got to write it down. When I point, you say that out of order, you can use your communicator. When I point, stand by. All right. Roll the tape, Michael. 3, 2, ready, go.
Everything's quiet here, sir. No sign of life anywhere.
Give him a hand, everybody. Nicely done. Here we go, Michael. Fascinating reaction.
Well, you know, we just came in off the stage, taking off my jacket. The film is already starting, you know. We didn't even get a premiere, no interviews, no junket, anything. I kind of feel ripped off, but this film looks really cool. Check it out.
Captain's log supplemental. In the midst of an attack by a Klingon vessel.
A strange energy force has rendered both the Enterprise and the Klingon ship helpless. We have located the source of the energy field on the planet's surface, so I have dispatched a landing party to beam down to the planet and investigate.
I have had an absolute blast here. The folks are really, really nice. To be honest with you, the Klingons are just a little bit weird. Wouldn't invite them to dinner, but that's me. I'm just a little bit picky. And great clothes, too. I'm thinking Versace. What do you think? Anyway, I'm out of here. Let's try this one more time. Hey, Scotty, beam me up, big guy. Come on, babe. Hello. Well, I guess you knew that was coming. You know, I've always wanted to be beamed. Thanks for joining us for our inside look at Star Trek and... Oh, yeah, I want to do this right. Live long... Whoops, there we go. Live long and prosper. I also own Leonard Nimoy album, but that's another story. And keep it tuned right here to E, the Entertainment News and Information Authority.